So for the procedure, they cut open the shoulder, about a 5 centimetre cut. And then there's your coracoid process with the tendon attached. So they cut that off, pre-drill some holes through the coracoid process, and then cut the subscapularis muscle, the rotator cuff. And then they do that obviously along the fibres, and they screw this. I think the video shows a tie, but there's 2 screws in mine, which obviously increases that surface area, and it creates that sling so that the shoulder doesn't pop forward anymore.
My shoulder did not just dislocate once. It kept happening over and over again. Before I even started keeping track of it on my phone, it dislocated so many times that I could not keep track, literally. But on November 10th, 2024, I decided to start keeping track of it on my Apple Notes. And this is how often it happened. So sometime in 2023, it was the nighttime. I decided to have movie night by myself with myself. And I went to our living room, turned on the TV, sat down and watched a movie. I don't remember the exact movie I was watching, but I know it was very interesting that I fell asleep. So I fell asleep while watching the movie and fell asleep throughout the night on the couch in a very bad position. Okay, I'll to see if I can insert a video of how it was. So I laid down in the chair with my hand out of the chair. So my whole body was still on the chair. This hand was away from the chair. And that's how I slept. I think that's how I slept for a very long time, for it to cause this type of pain to me. But when I woke up in the morning, I was trying to stand up. I could not stand up. And I tried to, hand up, bring it out and bring it back to my body, and I could not do it. I was in so much pain. I was crying and yelling and crying for help. And then, and other people came out from the house wondering what's going on. And then I told them, I don't know, I'm trying to lift my hand, is not working. And then my dad tried to, hand up. It was still not working. And he touched this part, and then he was like, oh, your hand is dislocated. Because it was very obvious that my bone was not in the right sockets. I think it was the ball and socket joints. So I started crying. Then he was like, okay, so I'm going to try to put it back in. And I was like, no. What if it falls out completely? And he was like, no. Try to see if he can do it and stuff like that. So it took about 30-40 of me crying, yelling before he was able to put it back in a joint. That was so painful, but I was like, okay, you're never gonna experience this again. Little did I know that was the beginning of everything that was gonna happen to me. That was 2023, and I kept experiencing pain up until 2025. So after that, I was like, you know what? Thankfully, this is done. The thing is, it will pain me when it happens, when they're putting it in, and then maybe 10 minutes after it's back in the joint. It helps well with pain medication too. So I took pain medication. I was okay for a couple minutes, and I was good. Or should I say for a couple minutes to an hour, and I was good. That was in Arizona, when we lived in Arizona. I don't think it dislocated again in Arizona, if I remember correctly. I feel like it dislocated one more time, still in the house, somewhere in the bedroom. And after that was it. It didn't dislocate again in Arizona. And then when we came over to Georgia, it kept happening very often. One of which crazy, was when it dislocated when I was taking out my clothes from the washing machine. That was so random. I'm like, what did I do? Like, it was giving somebody's out to get me. Because our machine is like deep. Now, you put something from up. So I put my hand inside, grabbed a few clothes from the washing machine, and then I'm turning, and it just dislocated. And I'm like, dang, I can't even take out clothes from the washing machine. For help. That's all I do. Whenever it dislocates and I yell, they know it dislocated. Like, it's a certain type of yell I yell that somebody in the house knows, oh, it has happened. And then they tried to help me fix it. So, of course, that's what I did. Yelled for help. And then who was there? I don't remember who helped. I feel like it was my dad, because that's the only person that can put the hand back in place. After like an hour of doing it, it went back in place. Another time it dislocated, I know I started taking notes November 10, 2024, This was the most embarrassing time this happened to me. And it was in church. It happened in church, you guys. That was so embarrassing. I would tell my kids this story. So I went to church looking pink, looking cute. I think I had a pink bag. I don't know what dress I had on, but I had a pink bag. I think I had a pink dress on. Do you know what it means? I was going to church feeling good, putting on my favorite outfit, favorite color. I think I had a pink shoe too. I don't remember. But, into church looking good, sat down. Now, I have my handbag, right? There's a chair beside me, there's a chair here. But because I came in with the handbag on this hand, of course, reflex. I'm like, what? I turned. I was still facing straight. And then I did my hand like this to put my bag on this side of the chair. You already know what happened, right? I'm shaking. You guys, it dislocated right there in church. Immediately I came in. It's giving, she wants attention. You guys, I was like, you must be kidding me. Like, I was so speechless. My hand was like this. And I'm like, okay, so what do I do now? And I tried to get the usher's attention. I got his attention. I told him, can you please call my mom for me? And he was like, okay, okay. He called my mom. And my mom, she was in front. So she turned back, look at me like, what's on or something. And I pointed at my hand and she was like, shocked, I know. So she came over to me. She was like, do you want to try to stand up? I said, it cannot move. So she was like, okay, like call your dad. Because he's the only one that could fix it. So she got my dad and my dad came beside me. He was like, do you want to try to stand up? I'm like, move. You guys, I was in so much pain. Usually I would scream, but I was in so much pain and I was embarrassed at the same time. So imagine that combo. I could not, I was speechless. I was more like, please, the ground should just open. Let me just go in. Like, it was so embarrassing. And then an usher came. I was like, what's going on? And then my mom told, I don't know if it was my mom or my dad. I was not paying attention. Somebody told the usher, oh, her hand dislocated. And then we have, a man in church too that he knows physical therapy and stuff like that. He also came, what's going on? So like the attention started focusing on me. Bear in mind, when all this was happening, pastor was giving, we do like people, other churches call theirs Sunday school. Ours, we call it search the scripture. So he was on the altar, search the scripture. So they were like, okay, how do we help? So some people were helping me up while some people were, and I was like, let's take my hand, please. Let's take the hand with me. So, and I was like, so I was trying to scream and holding myself. So we went to the next door. Okay. We were there. They sat me down. I don't know why my dad thought that was a good idea, but trying to fix the hand there. And I was screaming. It was painful. I was like, Jesus Christ. I was trying to hold myself. I was screaming. And guess what? More people from the church came in. What's going on? Jesus Christ, God help me. It was so embarrassing. I was convinced, I don't think I'm going to come back to this church next Sunday when I get better because this is embarrassing. Like, I don't want to look you out in the face again. The pastor actually came. I don't know if he came over to where the next door after he was done preaching or he stopped and came over. We never know. But he did come over and was like, what's going on? We told him. He was like, take her to the hospital. Take her to the emergency room. This is a serious. And he's right. Like, it was serious. But, like, you know what? They tried for a couple times. I was screaming. I was in pain. They were like, you know what? Let's help her. Let's take her to the hospital. A bunch of people followed me. Ushers. Hidru followed me. We got in the car. And we went to... It was not a hospital. I think it was a clinic. Or emergency room. I don't know. We went somewhere. So while we're in the parking lot, my dad was like, let's try one more time. Now we're outside. If you want to scream, you can scream. But we got to do this. So he helped. And at least 30 minutes it took. And it went back in place. And I was so relieved. The thing is, when the shoulder is out of place, it's so discomforting. You can, like, it's something is out of place. It's like something in your body is out of place. The same way when you have muscle pull. It's just not, you cannot relax because something is not, like the muscle is not supposed to be pulling. The muscle is supposed to be where the muscle is supposed to be. It's not supposed to pull. So that's how it feels. Well, I feel like it's much more painful than muscle pull. So after that, when we're done with that, my dad took me home. I went home, relaxed, lay down, took pain medication, definitely. And I think after that, it never happened in church again. I was sure of that. Every time I came to church, I used this hand to put my bag on the chair. I was not taking chances. Another time in Dislocated was when I was coming down the stairs. I didn't put the dates down, but I was coming down from the stairs. That was such a crazy experience because I was coming down from the stairs and I missed a step while I was still at the top of the steps. So I kept rolling and I hit my hand on the wall and it dislocated. And I kept rolling and I hit my hand on the wood and it went back in place. That was so crazy. I was still at the top when I hit my hand on the wall. And I screamed. I was like, oh my God. And I kept crying and kept falling down the stairs. But thankfully, I didn't fall in a bad way where, I don't know, like, it's a blur. I know I didn't fall, like, hit my head, or I just know I didn't end up in a hospital. So I don't know what type of fall that was. But I know I still at the top of the stairs. I hit my hair on the wall and it dislocated. And I kept falling and it hit my hand again. But this time around, I was not on the wall. I was more on the wood part of the I don't know, hit my head the second time and it went back in place. So by the time I got to the bottom of the stairs, I was good. I don't know. I feel like this is just God's doing. Like he just want me to be in that much pain for a long time. So all I did was scream like I always do. I don't think anybody was home. Or maybe just my little sister was home. So I drank water, took pain medication, and I was good. Let me check another instance where my shoulder dislocated. Another one was January 29th, 2025. This was on my bed. I was sleeping and then I turned in a bad way. Was I sleeping or I was just laying down on my phone? I feel like I was just laying down on my phone and then I wanted to turn and I turned in such a bad way and it dislocated. Okay, screamed for help. Dad came over and, helped to back in place. After about 30 minutes to an hour of pushing through and it went back in place. Another instance was when I went out to run errands, came back, parked the car, and then I was trying to come down from the car. It dislocated. That was just weird. And then screamed from where I parked my car up until when I got into the house. And then we have a little, in the first parlor, first living room, sat there. Was my dad around? I don't remember if my dad was around or I think he went to work. So I had to wait for him. My brother tried. I guess my screaming didn't let them proceed. They were like, oh, she's screaming. I will leave her. Something like that. So my dad, when he came back for a break, that's when he helped fix it. Another instance where it dislocated was August 20th. Oh, this one. August 20th, 2025. I was on the road while driving to work. And you guys, I've been looking for this job for a long time and then I finally found it, applied to the job, and tell me why. My first day of work. Was this my first day of work? Oh, I have gone to the job for like 2-3 days, but I was training. This is my first day that I'll probably actually be on my own. You feel me? So first day going to work. So while on the road, my AirPods were in my pocket and it was very uncomfortable for me. So while in the stoplight or red light or something, I slowed down, took the out, put it. I don't know if I took it from this hand. I feel like I took it from this hand. I took it from this hand because it was in this pocket. Took it out. My bag was on this side, right? So I did like this and put it in the bag while still facing the road. And after my hand went like this, bear in mind I was on the road. My hand went like this, it dislocated. I could not put it back. And I was like, oh my God. Like that was the turning point where I was like, I do not think it's likely anymore. I do want to, because before now, I've had, surgeries and stuff. So scared. I'm like, I don't want to be on that. I don't want nobody to knock me out for hours, operating on me with my consent. But like, gun, I don't know what doing to my hand. I don't know. I was just scared of surgery. So, and I'm like, okay, that's when it hit me. Girl, you gotta do the surgery, literally. So I was like, what do I do? Calm down. I was panicking so bad. Did I cry? I think I cried. I think I like, oh my God, Jesus, we're on the road. Like I was like, it was scary. Leg was still on the brake. My left leg was on the brake. But because this hand was dislocated, I could not press the power button to turn the car off. What is it called? Push to start. Push to off, something like that. I could not press that button because it was too far away for this hand. So I was like, okay, I still was holding on to the brake. So if I had taken my leg off the brake, the car would have been gone. So I just held on to the brake. My phone was on the mount. I tried my possible best. Oh no, I didn't reach the phone because I couldn't. I don't know how it was. Oh, the steering wheel was here, so I couldn't go over the steering wheel. So I was like, "Hey Siri, call my dad." No, not you, not right now. Oh my God. So yeah, that's what I did. I told her to call my dad, and she did. Thank God for Siri shot. And she did. And then while talking to my dad, while he was still on the mount, I told him it just happened. He was like, didn't you go to work? I'm like, yeah, I'm on my way to work. Yo, I was 5 minutes away from my job. And then I told him, and he was like, oh my God, like, where exactly are you? Like, what are the roads? So I'm like, okay, I'm not very good. Give me a GPS and I'll go where you want me to go. But if you think I know, oh, am I in I-85 or I don't know. So I'm like, okay, I'm trying to look around, see, okay, what's close by so I can where I'm at to him. He was like, you know what, just send me, your location, your actual address. Like, I can't reach my phone. He's like, oh, how are you calling? I said, I use Siri. The phone is on the mouth. I said, okay, try to reach it with your hand. And also call your job and tell them you can't make it because you have a medical emergency. And I'm like, okay, that's what I'll do. So I, using what hand is left to try to, reach, and like I'm in pain over here. So I was able to reach my phone, grab my phone, called my job, tell them, hey, something happened on my way to work. I have a medical emergency. I can't come to work. They were very understandable about it. And then after that, I sent my dad my location and just waited. My dad could not come. I feel like he was at work. I think that's what happened. So my brother and my sister came over with their own car. He tried to help me. I feel like they came over and then they were able to turn off the car for me. And then they turned it off. I don't know. I think it was 15 minutes before they came over when they were able to turn off the car. You guys, the cars at my back were just going by the side and passing. And I'm like, thank God I didn't really hold traffic. It would have been embarrassing for me. But after that, did they help me out? A sister, they helped me out of the the driver's, because now you guys are moving my hand, And then they took the backs, and then my sister took over to drive. And yo, her driving, and the fact that I was at the back on my own, nobody was there to like hold me. I was like actually driving. The road was not the most wonderful, so it was not like I was like, and I was screaming. I was irritated, and I was so mad and so in pain. So I was screaming. I was like, stop! Like, how are you driving? She panicked because like now she's driving and there's a human being in the back yelling at her. So she's like, I don't want to drive anymore. So she stopped. And my brother was like, what's going on? I don't like, she's not driving well. Like, my hand is going to fall out. My brother was like, okay, I should come over to his car. And I went over there and it was still the same thing. Like, I was still feeling like, because I don't think have I ever driven with my shoulder? I don't know. That was the first time. So it was so somehow. So with his car, it was still a mess, but I was still a mess. I was still in pain. I could not see myself. My hand still dislocated and I'm driving. Ooh, the other time I drove with my hand dislocated was when it happened in church and they drove me to that clinic place. But that time somebody was on this side, somebody's hand was protected. But this time around, I was alone in the backseat. I was swindling it. It was crazy. I don't know if my dad was able to come meet us, and then, you know what? He did come. I remember. He did come. Wait, me and my sister waited in the car that, that it happened. It happened. And then my brother went back home and picked up my dad and then came with my dad. And then my dad took over the driving while my brother was still in his own car. And then my sister stayed with me in the backseat. I think that's how it happened. I don't remember. And held on to me and stuff. And then that's how we home. So I would say this was the longest my hand was dislocated before it went back in place. Because the whole thing happening, it took a long time. Probably an hour on the road before we got home, and then an hour trying to fix it. That's why the putting back of the hand that day took so long, and it was so painful. Maybe because it was out for so long and with everything going on and the hand moving. So yeah. So when we came back, they tried to fix it. He was able to after like an hour. And then after that, December 2nd, 2025, I was at home. Now, after it happened in August, I started making doctor's appointments and stuff like that. But they're like, oh, he saw me and he was like, oh, your shoulder is bad. Like, he showed me. I did x-ray, and he was like, the x-ray is not very detailed. He can see something is wrong, but it's not very detailed. So he was like, he's gonna have to order an MRI for me to do. That will show him what he needs to see. So he ordered an MRI, and after seeing it, he was like, you need to have a Latarjet bone procedure surgery. And I'm like, what is that? Because I've never had that before. And I'm like, of course I did my own research after he told me what I'm supposed to have. He gave me two options. One was arthroscopy, bone something something. One was Latarjet. But I chose because I forgot what the reason was. Oh, with this one, it would not be dislocating frequently. Maybe once a year, once in 2 years, once in 3. It would dislocate, but it's not going to be very frequent. But with the arthroscopy, there's the likelihood of it dislocating again is very high. That's why I chose this one over this one. So after August, when this happened, I was making appointments and stuff, and like, oh, this happened August 2025, and he was like, oh, your surgery could be like next year, 2026, or I think it was June. And I'm like, that is so far. He was like, yeah, he's booked up. And I'm like, okay, fine. Like, I was still making appointments and stuff. And then it dislocated again. I was taking my hoodie because it was so cold. It was December. Taking off my hoodie and it dislocated. And nobody was home but my mom. Of course, I screamed and went over to her, and she was like, okay, let her try. She tried, and then she was like, no. Like, she was like, I cannot do this. Call your dad. And then we waited from his break time. I don't know if it was his break time or he just came back because of me. But yeah, he came over and he was the one that was able to fix it. You guys already have migraines, remembering everything I've been through, literally. So after that, I told my doctor, hey, it happened again, please. Like, is there a way to just push this surgery forward? I don't think I can, wait any longer. Like, this is messing my head, is messing with today activities. Ooh, another time it happened was when I was at work. While at work, because I'm a med tech, or I was a med tech, which is giving medications out to the elderly. So giving medications, which is like have dementia and stuff like that. So giving them. So one of the days I was at work and it dislocated was when I went to give a resident, we call them residents or a patient. I went to give her medication. So after giving her, and she was like, hey, can you help me up? Because she was not, she was not sitting up. And in order to give her medication with water, she has to sit up. If you know, you know. So she was like, hey, can you? And I'm like, I don't, she's heavy. She is about 300 pounds. She's heavy. And she was paralyzed half of her body on one side. So she could never help me if she wanted to. So I was like, let me see if I can ask somebody for help. I used my pager and called, and they were like, oh, we're busy. We can't right now. And I was like, you know what? Let me try. Worst decision ever. Never do that again. Don't ever. If you know somebody's heavier than you, don't ever try to lift them by yourself. Wait for at least 2-3 people. I learned my lesson that day. So she told me, hey, can you help me up? And I was like, you know what? Let me just help her. We're going to be all right. worst mistake ever. So I helped her, and while doing that, it dislocated, and I was in so much pain, and I was at work. So it was so painful. I was just there crying for about 30 minutes. And I was stuck between, okay, do I go home? Did I call my mom or dad? I feel like it was my mom I called. And I was like, do I go home? Do I call 911? Like, where do I go from here? And then I started watching videos on how to put my shoulder back. Because I was like, I don't want to call 911 like that. It's just, I don't know. Because they going to charge me for just putting my shoulder back in. What my dad has been doing for me for free. They going to charge me. So I was like, I don't think I want to do that. So I was tired of watching videos on how to do it. I don't know if I would say videos help, but then I was just, figuring out a way to put it. And I was so much pain. I was crying, yelling, and I put it back after an hour. And I'm like, I'm never doing this again. I don't care what type of pain you're in. I'm never helping to lift nobody up. Heavier than me? No. So that taught me a very big lesson. Never again. So told my doctor all the stories when I went to the consultation meeting or visit, and he was like, "That's so crazy." He was like, "Are you, do you do any sports?" I'm looking, do no sports. So he was like, "That is weird because this type of injury only happens to athletes." So he was like, "Wow." He was like, "That's so rare to see." He was like, "Maybe because from MRI scans and all that extra stuff, my bone is just naturally soft. It's just naturally soft. Like I'm a soft girl. What do you expect?" Like I'm just a soft girl. Of course my bones just like my skin. Like everything is soft. So he was like, maybe that's the why it's easy for your shoulder to just dislocate that bad. And I'm like, yeah. So after that, they booked me for 2026, like no July. I'm like, Jesus Christ, I cannot this much. So I prayed and I waited. And one day like that, one day in December, they called me. I was like, hey, we have an opening for December 30th. And I'm like, what type of opening are we talking about? They were like, for your surgery. And I'm like, what happened? She was like, oh, somebody canceled or something like that. And I'm like, okay, yeah, sign me. Like, yes. And they put me stuff like day, you guys. The nights before, I was so nervous. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to have a score. And I was going through a lot, just overthinking the whole thing. And I'm like, what if I don't remember? And you guys, I was doing so much research on my doctor. I'm like, I need to know, like, what's the review talking about? What is all that? Bam, somebody in the hospital in Kaiser referred me to him, but I was like, that's not enough. I need outside reviews on this man, and I could not find any. So that made me more paranoid and more annoyed, and I'm like, should I just cancel this surgery? But I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna just pray and leave it, and leave it up to God, and he gonna always fit out. So I was like, you know what? I don't see no review on this doctor, but I just hope he's as good as his colleague referred me to him saying, oh, he's the best in this field. I hope, he's as good as that. So I was like, on the day of surgery, I filmed myself. Like in my mind, I was praying. Like I filmed myself, but I'm not praying out loud, just looking around and stuff. I would insert it right here. And then after that, we got to the hospital. We waited for like 10 minutes and then they called me, to come. When I came in, they told me I have to take off all your clothes and put on the hospital gown. I'm like, you said? You said what? And they're like, yeah, everything? She was like, yeah, everything. I'm out. And then I went to the bathroom, got on my hospital gown, which I'm going to insert right here. And after putting it on, they told me it was a male. He told me to sit, lay down on the bed, chair, board thingy, and I sat on the bed. And then he was telling me, asking me a few questions. What happened? Here for, right? What hand, right? Just to make sure and after it started putting in the IV drip, the thing for the anesthesia drip, the oxygen, started putting all that in, and then they were like, is there anybody you would like to call in here? And I'm like, yeah, you guys can call my dad. And then my dad, and he was filming. I'm gonna insert the videos he took here. So he was filming a couple of videos while the nurse was talking to me and asking me some questions and putting in all the stuff. And within me, I was so nervous. I was scared. I'm like, God, please, like, I hope there's no complications going in and coming out. I prayed, like, I was not playing. I was praying. So after that, the came, and he made me feel very comfortable. He was like, yo, you have questions for me? I'm gonna be taking care of you. Don't worry about that. And I was like, okay, let's went in there. So while I was laying on the bed, they pushed the bed. Like, the movie scenes where they're looking up at lights of the hospital lights? Yeah, that happened to me. I'm like, is this the movies? Like, while laying down, I was looking up and they're moving me. I was just seeing the hospital stuff and I'm like, oh my God, this is real. And then when I went into the what's it called? Operation room, the surgery room, in there was a bunch of people. I think I counted at least 10 people. One was like the tech, the anesthesia, the doctor, the nurse, it was a bunch of them. So while they just gathered me like round. And then they were like, one of the men, he was like, so it's confirmed we're here. It felt like a cult. They were like, so we're gonna be doing a surgery. We're gonna be doing what's the name of my? Gonna be doing a Latarjet bone procedure on Precious Abasi. That's correct. Everybody said that's correct. I'm like, what? And then they said, and it's gonna be done on her right shoulder. That's correct. Everybody said that's correct. And I'm like, I was just looking from left to right. And then they said something else. They said, I think they talked about like my blood pressure, all that stuff. Stable. Like they're just talking about different things. And then that was over a very nice, pretty, lady. She was about to put the oxygen on me. I was like, wait, please take care of me. And then the surgeon was beside me. He was like, we will. And I, put it on my nose and I was still awake for like 2 seconds. And then tears just dropped down from my eyes. I was gone. Yes, I was gone like a flash. Black, like I thought, okay, I'm gonna dream or something. I'm not dream. What that is scary. I was not dreaming. I could not see anything. I could not, even today, I can't remember. And then that's it. I was gone for like 4 hours, I think. That's how long the surgery was. And the next time I woke up, like I was hearing beep, 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 different beeps. I'm like, again, so when I was opening my eyes, everywhere was so bright. And I'm like, what? Like I was trying to still figure out like what is going on. And I was opening small, like trying to gauge environment, like where because I know where I was. I was still looking around and I saw a nurse. And then I said, hey, Miss Pretty Precious, sorry, she didn't call me Precious. Hey, Miss Precious. You're here at the hospital. You just had the surgery. She was telling me about it. I'm like, oh, okay. My memory was coming back. Okay, surgery. I remember coming in here. And she was like, and the surgery is over. It was a success. And I'm like, she was like, just nudge your head if you're, and I'm like, she was like, okay. So dad is here. Mom is here. They were showing me. I'm like, looking at them. Where are you guys? No, I didn't say that. But in mind, I was like, trying to look to see if I remember their faces. So I was looking. And then they gave me a few, I feel like a good 30 minutes to get my eyes and know where I'm at. And then after they helped me up with 2 nurses or so. I don't remember. But they helped me up, helped put my clothes back on so I could take off the hospital gown. They also helped put me in a wheelchair. I think my dad filmed me being wheeled to the car. I'm going to put it here if he filmed it. So yeah, they wheeled me to the wheelchair. They put me in a wheelchair and wheeled me and then from the car. The drive home was crazy. I was still high on the anesthesia. And I could not feel my hand. It felt like if it had pinched me, I wouldn't feel it. I couldn't feel a thing.
There you go. Beautiful.
Thank
Beautiful.
You, so much.
You are so welcome.
Thank you so
She did
much.
awesome. Just get her something to eat. If she doesn't want to eat right away, then just put her to bed, let her have a nap, and when she wakes up, she'll eat something.
Okay.
But try to get her to eat before she takes any medicine.
Any medication.
Okay? All right, take care. And you know who to call. The number is on the paper, who to call if you have any problems. But she's going to do fine.
Thank you.
All right, be safe.
And I was in pain too. No, was I in pain? No, I was not in pain because they gave me a nerve block, so I could not feel pain. It was after 24 hours that the pain came back tenfold. It was so painful. But thankfully, he gave me pain medication in pills and bottles and stuff, so I take it from the pills. But yeah, I had a nerve block, so I could not feel anything. Pain, if you had done me like this, I couldn't feel nothing. But we came back home and then I sat down. I was dizzy, sleepy the whole 24 hours. But in conclusion, I want to say I really thank God for a very successful surgery. Not everybody goes in and comes out alive or comes back better or comes back safe without any complications and stuff. But God had my last prayer before I was knocked out, which was please protect me and help these people know I know they know what they're doing, but I don't want them to make any mistakes. And then the last thing I said to the pretty nurse, I was like, please take care of me. I meant it because I'm like, I watch a lot of medical videos and stuff, Grey's Anatomy, all that medical videos, doctors, nurses, settings, hospital settings. And a lot happened. They be forgetting the towel in the person's body or forgetting stuff inside the person's body. And I'm like, I just hope these people don't forget no needle in my shoulder or forget nothing in my shoulder or any complications. And then they ruled it as medical. I don't want any medical malpractice. I don't want anything. I just want to go in here and come out. And that was just my prayer the day before, the day of, few hours to few minutes to few seconds to I was knocked out. And I really thank God that he really helped them. They did their job, got me out of there safely, and here am I getting better. Today I'm how many weeks post-op, and yes, I still feel pain once in a while depending on how I use my hand. Maybe if I do too much things. Physical therapy, I'm trying, but it's not the easiest thing to do, but I'm still trying to do it. So what I would say is I'm grateful for a successful surgery. I'm grateful that I am getting better. I have not experienced any shoulder dislocations since my surgery. Hopefully, I don't experience it again. I don't want to go through this again or the second time. Now, physical therapy is a little bit difficult to remember to do it and to actually do it. But I know God is going to help me to keep pushing through. Heaven help those who help themselves. While I'm helping myself, hopefully heaven helps me too. So that's everything that led up to the surgery and the recovery. If you have not watched all my recovery videos, I suggest you go back and watch it because I post one video which included week 1 and 2's recovery, another video which is week 3 and 4's recovery, another video which is week 4 and 5's recovery. Week 5 and 6 recovery. Because at week 6 was when I took off my sling. So I suggest you watch that video if you have not. And recovery was harder than I thought. But thankfully, I'm doing better than before. I'll see you guys in the next video. Adios.